We continue to the next session on social entrepreneurship, and in this session we will be discussing the social impact assessment and legal consideration for social enterprises. First, we will discuss the social impact assessment. The social impact assessment, we can also call it SIA. It is a systematic process employed in the social entrepreneurship in order to gauge and understand the effects of initiatives that has to be taken on the respective communities and the environments they aim to serve. Whatever communities and environment they aim to serve or they aim to cater to. So it involves a very comprehensive evaluation of the intended and unintended social, economic, and environmental consequences of a social enterprise's activities. Social impact assessment goes beyond the traditional metrics of success because it delves into the qualitative aspect of change, such as maybe a shift in community dynamics, that is improving the community dynamics, maybe providing the community with more, maybe suppose if a small village does not have power, electricity, then providing them, that is changing the dynamics of the society. So shift in the community's dynamics or empowerment and overall well-being of the people living. Some cases of social entrepreneurship maybe that suppose there is a society which is deprived of education, or maybe a community where there is no cottage industry and people are talented but they do not know where to sell those products. So providing markets for them, providing educational, laying down educational institution for them, etc. So this assessment method, so they have to assess their requirement. This assessment method, it employs a mix of quantitative data, including statistical measures, and the qualitative data also, which is often collected by meeting the people of living in those societies, or maybe taking their interviews, conducting the surveys, and maybe on ground observations, etc. So by establishing the baseline measurements, engaging stakeholders, and employing continuous monitoring systems and evaluation systems, the social entrepreneurs, they assess the effectiveness or the effectivity of their interventions. They adjust the strategies accordingly, and transparently they communicate impact to their stakeholders, that these are the ones they penetrate, they understand, and they will convey that these are the problems that are existing in the society. And by involving those people, they understand, and they just tell their stakeholder that how this can be overcome and what steps have to be taken in order to spare that community of those problems. So the ultimate goal of social impact assessment is to enhance the accountability, transparency, and the overall positive contribution of the social entrepreneurship for the betterment of the society and the environment. So we can just have an overview of the social impact assessment in the context of social entrepreneurship. First is the social impact assessment. Let us define it. That is, the definition of social impact assessment is that it involves systematically collecting and analyzing the data to assess the social, economic, and environmental outcome of a social enterprise's activities. The primary purpose is to understand the extent to which the venture is venture has achieved, and it has achieved is its intended social obligations. That is, whatever it had planned, has it achieved it or not? Did it achieve it or not? After that, once it is defined, we identify the key metrics That is, the social entrepreneurs, they must define clear and measurable indicators that will align with their social mission. So these metrics can include change in education levels. They can bring improvement in the maybe health sector or health results. It can be an increase in the employment rates, or maybe there can be an environmental conservation, or maybe any other relevant parameters. So they have to identify the key metrics on what they have to work. They have to first measure it, and then they have to perform on these parameters or these variables. After that, the SIA, it combines both the quantitative as well as the qualitative data in order to provide a comprehensive understanding of impact. So quantitative data may include statistical figures, while the qualitative data may involve narratives, testimonials, and maybe stories, which they capture, which they capture by interviewing the people, talking to them, and covering the human dimensions of the impact. So these things have to be done, that means that we have to keep in mind that both the quantitative as well as the qualitative aspects have to be collected and covered. The next step is, the baseline and comparative analysis, that is establishing a baseline measurement before the implementation of that initiative, because this will allow for a comparative analysis of impact over the time period. So comparison will also help identify the changes that are attributable to the social enterprises activities. Engaging the stakeholders, including the communities affected by the social venture, is very, very essential in SIA. That means the people on whom you are going to work, the solution to the problems for whom you are going to cater, you have to engage them too, you have to involve them too. So we have collecting inputs from those directly impacted people. It provides a valuable insights, and it also ensures that the assessment will reflect the perspectives of the intended beneficiaries. Distinguishing between attribution, that is the direct impact of the social enterprise, and contribution, that is indirect influence on broader systematic change. It will help in understanding the venture's role in overall social landscape. So therefore it is necessary that one must go for attribution and contribution, that is distinguishing between them, the direct impact and the indirect influences. That assessment also has to be done. After that, after the social impact assessment is an ongoing process. Therefore, we need to continuously monitor and evaluate the same, because it is not a one-time event. Once you start finding the problem and implementing the solutions to solve out or sort out those problems or challenges, it has to be continued till it is covering the whole society, and then again further it has to be followed by further changes and improvement. So we need to regularly monitor that. Regular monitoring and evaluation will allow social entrepreneurs to track progress and identify the challenges and make informed adjustments to optimize the impact. After that, there has to be transparent reporting, because transparent reporting of social impacts findings is very important from accountability point of view, and also from the point of view of building trust with the stakeholders. So clear communication about the successes, challenges and lessons learned enhances and improves the credibility of any social enterprise. So therefore, it's very important that it maintains its records and it reports, and it also maintains the transparencies. SIA often lead to insights that can inform strategic decisions. Social entrepreneurs should be willing to adapt and refine their strategies, which are based on the assessment results, ensuring that they maximize their positive impact. And therefore, the strategies must be continuously adjusted according to the need and requirement of that time period. It also contributes to the SIA contributes to the broader field of social enterprise or entrepreneurship. And how does it do that? It by generating knowledge and insights. So sharing the assessment findings with the sector, it facilitates the learning part on everyone's knowledge, fosters collaboration, and also supports the development of best practices. So after understanding this, the whole process, we can say that effectively conducting a social impact assessment will improve the accountability, transparency, as well as the overall effectiveness of the social entrepreneurship. And therefore, this initiative must be taken up and must be a continuous process by the organizations and the entrepreneurs. Because it provides a foundation for continual improvement, as well as it increases the change in the communities which are served. So that is all about the SIA. Next, we will discuss the legal consideration for establishing a social enterprises. Social enterprises are a different models than the traditional ones. So they have a different because they are having a different objective of maybe we can say they have a dual objective to balance between the financial and the society aspect, that is social sustainability as well as financial sustainability. And therefore, we must choose an appropriate legal structure. It becomes very critical, very important that we have a very appropriate and suitable legal structure that can impact the organization's ability to achieve its goal. So, common legal structures for social enterprises include the benefit corporations, that is also called B Corp, which legally requires consideration of social and environmental factors along with financial interests. So, non-profit organizations such as according to maybe 501c3s in United States, there are one very popular options that offer tax exemption status, but with restrictions on profit distribution. There are some hybrid models also existing, like social purpose corporation, blend aspects for profit and non-profit structures, etc. So wherever you are establishing a social enterprise, there should be a compliance with the local laws and regulation, which is very important, covering all the issues such as the employment practices, intellectual property rights, and tax obligations. There has to be in Indian context, if you're establishing, we must adhere to all the we have already discussed comprehensive details on legal requirement of an entrepreneur. So we have to cater or understand and adopt those which are required or which specifically are applied to the social enterprises. So because it is, transparent governance structure, ethical business practices, and very clear communication with the stakeholders are very essential to maintain the credibility and trust. And therefore, legal consideration, they do not only provide a framework for the social entrepreneurs' operations, but they also influence their ability to, attract more investors, partners, and support from the community. Therefore, this way you can, if you move in the right direction, adopting the correct legal structure provisions that are required, and you get yourself registered accordingly, maybe as an NGO, maybe as a society, or maybe as a social enterprise. So you are going to get all the legal provisions support from the law point of view, as well as you are going to get tax benefit, tax exemptions, etc. So this way you can have a broader impact of your business on the community where you are doing it. So the key legal structures that has to be here opted for, or maybe there are some key aspects that have to be taken into consideration. That is choosing, first of all, appropriate legal structure, which is very important. Options may include the traditional business structures, that is maybe the sole proprietor or partnership, and maybe there can be some specialized structures for the social enterprises, for example, benefit corporations or social purpose corporations. It should, whatever structure you opt for or you select, it must align with your organization's missions and organization's goal. There has to be, a compliance with all the regulations. Here, I would say that the social entrepreneur must adhere to local, national, as well as international regulations governing business operations, because the compliances will include the tax obligation, the labor laws, environmental regulations, and other industry specific requirement. We have to understand the tax implications also, which is very important. Some jurisdiction, they offer tax exemptions and tax exempt incentives also for the social enterprises. So while establishing, one must look into this, because it will be a great benefit if you fall under the tax exemption net, and you can take advantage of that. um, so here it is, non-profit organizations may benefit from tax exemption status, while benefit corporations, they qualify for specific tax incentives. So you have to just go through the list and find out that what provisions are applicable and how you can take advantage of those legal provisions. Then next comes the intellectual property protection. Intellectual property protection, is vital for any social enterprise, because if they develop innovative solutions, especially then they need to be protected. They need to be, saved from other people copying their model. So intellectual property rights and intellectual property protections are very crucial for them. This may include the trademarks, maybe for branding, the patents for inventions and innovations, and maybe for your copyrights for your creative works. So these have to be taken care of. You must get yourself registered as per the provisions, whatever is required in order to protect yourself. Then you must be drafting a very clear and comprehensive contracts, which is very essential for any social entrepreneurs who are engaging in maybe partnership or any other kind of collaborations or service deliveries, etc. So a well drafted agreement always helps manage the relationship and expectations while minimizing the legal risks. Not finally, but social enterprise certification, that is, some jurisdiction, they provide certification for social enterprises such as B Corp certification. This certification reinforces the commitment to social and environmental goals, and they may offer certain legal protection also. Because this certification not only provides the legal protection, they also provide you with some weightage also. This enhances the weightage of the organization, and gives more added advantages. Once you are certified, you get further added advantages because of that. So one must go for getting themselves certified as a social enterprises. After that, the next is that establishing a robust governance is also very important for any social enterprise. Actually, it's clearly defining the roles and responsibilities, as well as incorporating the mechanism for transparency and accountability. It will help in maintaining the ethical standards, as well as it will go for legal compliances also. So, governance structure has to be decided, has to be implemented in a very comprehensive manner, so that things are well defined, and everybody knows their roles and responsibilities, duties, and there is no, there is no confusion, and there is no because this can, if there is a lack of this proper governance structure, this may lead to failure of the organization sooner or later. So this must be done. The next is that social enterprises, they should adhere to the financial reporting standards which are applicable to their legal structure. That is a compulsory part, because if you are not following the proper and legal financial reporting standards, and you are not submitting your documents accordingly, maybe you are not going to get the benefits, maybe in terms of registration, taxation or registration, anything. So transparent financial reporting not only ensures the compliances, but it also, on the other hand, builds trust with the stakeholders. Because once you are, well structured, financial statements are developed, and they are floated into the market or with the stakeholders, with other parties which are related to your business, it will always build up trust for you and for others also. Then social impact reporting. While not strictly a legal requirement, but still, transparent reporting on social impact contributes to accountability and credibility. This proves your credibility and enhances it too. So social enterprises must voluntarily, they should themselves adopt the reporting frameworks. For example, maybe the global reporting initiative, in order to communicate their impact not only to the stakeholders who are directly connected to their businesses, but also to the society at large. Because once people see and they know about what impact you are making on the society, it spreads, it is very influential on the society, and maybe it motivates others also to come out and maybe multiplies the similar models in order to bring benefits to the society. So social impact reporting is almost very important, though it is not compulsory. Next is adhering to fair employment practices and non-discrimination policies is also very important. At the same time, we must also provide a safe working environment, because it is not only ethically necessary or important, but it is also legally required. So once you are following this employment practices, fair employment practices, so you're also under the legal compliances. So you are fulfilling that requirement also, and at the same time you are creating a goodwill among your employees, among your workers, and you are getting into a strong bond with them. That is, you are generating further, this will help you in generating the loyalty factor among the workers for your organization. Then social enterprises involved in product or services delivery, they must comply with consumer protection law at the same time. They must, ensure very fair business practices, and also transparent communication is very essential. Because if the consumers feel that they are at stake and they are not getting, the good quality services or goods, then maybe your business will not be seen in a long distance time period. So this must be taken care of. And the last legal issue is that social enterprises with environmental goals, they must comply with laws and regulations which are related to sustainability and environmental protection. So this will include maybe waste disposal, resource usage, and maybe emission control, carbon control, etc., etc. So what we can see here, after understanding the legal part or legal aspect of getting registered, after this discussion, we understand that engaging the legal professionals who understand both business and social impact consideration, they can help social enterprises navigate these legal consideration effectively, ensuring the compliances with regulation while maintaining a focus on their mission-driven goals. So this is all about the legal aspects or legal consideration under the social entrepreneurship. We do this much in this session. Thank you.